everyone, and welcome to another Accessibility Talks. We're glad you could join us for our monthly virtual meetup on accessibility, inclusion, and usability. It's a space where we learn from guest speakers and connect as a community. I'm your host, Carrie Fisher. I'm a Senior Accessibility Program Manager at GitHub. For visual description, I'm a white woman with medium length blonde hair wearing a maroon knit hoodie, and my pronouns are she, her. Before we get started, a quick reminder that Alley Talks is dedicated to maintaining a safe and welcoming environment for all. We ask everyone joining us today, speakers and attendees alike, to follow our code of conduct in the chat and during discussions. You can find the full version on our website. Our goal is to ensure a respectful space for open dialogue and learning. We also want to take a moment to thank the partners who make Alley Talks possible. A special thank you to our bronze supporters, Agile Collective and Principal Financial Group. We also want to recognize our Alley Cat Club monthly members. Every contribution helps keep this community growing, our content free, and our talks accessible to everyone. If you'd like to support Alley Talks as a sponsor, please visit our website to learn more. Your contributions go directly towards compensating speakers and improving our events. You can also double your impact through corporate matching programs like Benevity. Just search for us under Alley Talks by Midwest Open Source Alliance. With all that being said, welcome everyone to the very first Alley Talks of 2026. We're thrilled to kick off the new year with all of you. And we're doing things a little bit differently today. Instead of hosting a guest speaker or speakers, we're going to be turning the cameras on ourselves. The Alley Talks team is here to catch you up on everything that's happened since our last team check-in back in 2023. Spoiler alert, a lot has changed, and we're excited to share with you some of that journey. To keep things interesting, we're letting AI take over the Q&A section. I'm going to be using an app I created that generates a mix of fun and serious questions for each team member. So let's see what the robots have in store for us today. If you have any follow-up questions of your own, stick around and we'll share exactly how to connect with us at the end. Before we dive into the new stuff, let's take a quick trip down memory lane. I want to share the Alley Talks origin story, because knowing where we started helps explain the exciting future we're building towards. To really understand the history of Alley Talks, we have to rewind to the digital landscape of 2017. Back then, accessibility often lived on the fringes. It was treated as a specialist topic or a final checklist item rather than the core part of the process. The biggest issue was that conversations were heavily siloed. Designers spoke to designers, developers spoke to developers, and then the people who actually were impacted by our design and code choices were rarely centered in the discussion. As a front-end developer at the time, I felt that tension constantly. Teams wanted to do better, but we really lacked those shared tools and language to make it happen. And that frustration is what led me to create the Alley Style Guide, one of the first component libraries built with accessibility as a primary focus. It was a crucial step in making accessibility concrete for our teams and giving those a practical way to handle the how of inclusive code. But even after I created the accessibility style guide, I could tell that something was missing. The component library did a great job at helping understand the technical side of things, but it couldn't really teach the why. It didn't convey the lived experiences, the policy context, or really the human consequences of our decisions. So we needed a way to push past that simple compliance and get to the heart of what was building inclusivity really means for real people. And that's where Alley Talks began, right? It didn't start as a massive event. It began as a small private gathering of coworkers, and we were just trying to learn from one another. As we grew, we invited guests to share their experiences, and those honest and sometimes uncomfortable conversations really resonated with us deeply. We soon realized, our small group realized that these discussions were too important to keep within our own four walls. And so we took the leap and turned those into internal sessions into a public virtual meetup, creating that place where anyone could look beyond the code, beyond the design, and focus on the people behind the products. Before we talk about where we are today, I need a moment to acknowledge the people who actually make it possible, our team, both past and present. There was a distinct turning point where Alley Talks evolved from a personal project I was running into collective vision we were building together. What started as an individual effort only became sustainable because others believed in it enough to help carry the load. This team remained steadfast throughout periods of growth and change, including moments when I personally also had to step away to help support my family. So having people willing to step up and keep things moving during those times meant more to me than I could easily put into words. Each person here brings a unique mix of skills, perspectives, and lived experiences of their own. And that diversity is exactly what makes Accessibility Talks resilient. Of course, that shared belief in the mission is exactly what allowed us to leap into the public eye to succeed. As I mentioned, we started streaming on YouTube because keeping these conversations going behind the walls of a company just felt like a missed opportunity. Our very first public stream was on June 1st of 2017 with Mike Gifford, and he was discussing Global Accessibility Awareness Day. Since then, we have kept that format intentionally simple, experts sharing their knowledge, followed by a genuine dialogue and real questions. Fast forward today, and the impact has exceeded our expectations. We have hosted over 100 virtual events, built a community of over 3,000 subscribers, and generated more than 8,500 hours of watch time. But beyond those YouTube metrics, the variety of our top topics, ranging from design, components, disability, JavaScript, everything in between, proves that our audience isn't one dimensional. We're bringing together designers, developers, practitioners, and everyone else into a single shared space. If these conversations help even one person build more thoughtfully or feel less isolated in this work, then every effort has been worth it. With all of that, I am going to now hand it over to Andrew to dive in deeper into our events and how you can get involved.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Olson. I'm a white male wearing dark rimmed glasses and long red Viking-esque hair. And I'm also wearing a flannel because it is rather cold today. I got involved with Alley Talks by an invitation. I had just started getting involved in more accessibility conversations and bringing accessibility to my work in 2019, 2018, or 2019. With that, I really dove into making events more accessible and virtual events. And I'm here to talk about the changes that we've made since we last connected back in 2023 and the changes we're making now and the future of where we're heading with Alley Talks and our events. The first big change we had was going from a live stream to pre-recorded events. Pre-recorded events were really advantageous for speakers and for coordinating, and then producing the live event out on our live stream. It took a lot of overhead. It took a tremendous amount of pressure off of the team in order to just stay focused on what we were here for and what our audience was here for, which was really just great accessibility content. With that, some other changes that came with it was the ability to not have the real-time captioning, but then to explore having better captions. So with us pre-recording it, we're able to take the time, edit the conversation down, and clean up the captions and make sure that the captions when the video is posted were as great and concise as possible. The other part of that, by having the pre-recorded event, we could still do the live stream. So that's still how we are today, is you'll be watching this. We will be having a live stream event and people will be on. We have a live event support checklist. And so there are actual people on the Alley Talks team that are there while the live stream is happening. And that allows us to put links during the talk into that chat and continue that conversation. And that's one thing that we're still exploring. And we've had a lot of conversation about having it pre-recorded versus live because we love that interaction. We love the people that come to the event and the questions that we get organically during that event. Even though it is pre-recorded, as I said, we invite the speaker to come and we are there as well to curate those ideas. But we still look to you, the community, to help us where we should take these conversations afterward. We've had some ideas within the team where you'll see us more active on LinkedIn, and we'll get to that with more of the social situation, the social media and how we promote our events. We also, as we said, we have our YouTube channel, and there's an ability to continue a conversation within the YouTube comments. But we have other ideas, and we'd love to hear from you if you have ideas. But in the end, to just kind of summarize where we've been and what we're doing is, instead of all the pressure in production of having a live stream, the cost of having that live stream for a limited audience, our efforts, it's the same amount of effort, but less pressure to have a really good conversation, have it well captioned, and have it edited in a very clean, concise way, and still live stream to you where we engage you during that time. So behind the scenes, you may not have noticed it, but from our standpoint in our team, it's been really great. I want to also shout out to Marky for his video editing. As somebody that is giving the talk right now, there's things that are going to be edited out of there to make it clear and concise. So thank you to Marky for all the editing that he's done in cleaning up the videos to make sure they're within that hour range and that we have just a clear, cohesive message. With that, I would love to hand it over to Kat Shaw to talk about speaker selection and more about our speakers.
Thank you, Andrew. So, my name is Kat Shaw. I'm a lead engineer at Lullabot, and I'm focused on front-end development and accessibility. So, for a visual description, I am a light-skinned Black woman with medium-length hair, a brown and gray hair color, a little bit more gray than brown as I get older. And I'm wearing glasses, and my pronouns are she, her. So how I got involved in Alley Talks is that I was actually invited by April Sides, my former colleague at Lullabot, and I am really thankful for that. I started digital accessibility work when I worked at Douglas County, Kansas as their webmaster. So I was like a one-stop shop. So I did the front end, back end, database, everything at that job. And I used to attend a users group in Kansas City. And I saw a presentation from a user who was blind, and that was very eye-opening. And from there, I was really in. So I've continued that work through Ally Talks, presentations and training, mentorship, the Drupal accessibility team, and my position at Lullabot. So today I'd like to just discuss what I do with Ally Talks. There's three main things. That's recruiting, that's gathering speaker information, and that's a code of conduct. Okay, so first up with recruiting, there's a link I'd like to share. It's allytalks.com/speakers. And there you can find some really useful speaker information and speaker resource information. I highly recommend you go there. And what I look for when I'm recruiting are people from marginalized groups, speakers from other camps, conferences, webinars, and virtual events. And people who have reached out to us, I really love this. We do have a new speaker Google form. New and experienced speakers. So you don't have to be an experienced speaker to speak for us. If you've never spoken before, we're really open to having you speak for us. And we like a mix of technical talks and high-level talks and topics. So it doesn't need to always be a technical talk. And I really love ideas that are outside of the box regarding accessibility. How I reach out, I first send out an email. Sometimes I'll contact somebody through LinkedIn because some people are not really into email. And when I get a reply, then the conversation is started. And then the speaker is added to our speaker queue. Next up, I gather speaker information. So I gather talk information from the speaker via a Google form. And that's going to eventually change to a Drupal form. And the kind of information that I gather is contact information, so the email and their name, obviously. And I also like to get their preferred nickname. So like my preferred nickname is Kat. I also like to gather their talk topic and description if they have it, their headshot image or avatar, if they prefer an avatar. I really like to get a fun fact about them. So getting a fun fact actually is my favorite part. I've learned a lot about different people, and it's pretty cool. Their slides if they have them, resource and social media links for the audience, a date and time to record the pre-recording, and also then we set the live talk usually on the last Wednesday of the month, which is an optional thing for the speaker to attend. We really like them to attend to answer Q&A from the audience, but it's an optional thing. Optional information that we gather are their job title and company or organization, their pronouns, your Drupal username, your IAAP username, or if you're from an underrepresented group. I also check from the following things from the speaker. How experienced is the speaker? How eager is the speaker to talk? And how responsive is the speaker? Then I send follow-up emails on the process and give information. So I'm generally the point of contact until the talk happens. Finally, we have a code of conduct, and there's a link for that as well. If you go to a11yTalks.com/conduct, then you can find that information. It's really just act like a human and be respectful of others. Thank you for that. I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Aubrey Sambor to talk about communications.
Yeah, thanks, Kat. As Kat just said, my name is Aubrey Sambor. A visual description of me: I am a white woman with long blue hair and pink glasses, and today I am wearing a pink shirt and a black cardigan. And my pronouns are she, her. I got involved in Alley Talks in 2024 when I was asked to join by Kat Shaw when we were colleagues at Lullaby. I've been involved in digital accessibility off and on since about 2004 when I came across a website about accessibility back then. But I really became more into it in 2010 after my dad had an accident and became a quadriplegic. And watching him try to access the internet without having any movement in his arms, he was paralyzed from the shoulders down. So he was able to move around in a chair that you moved your head around and things like that. And then trying to see him do things with Dragon Naturally Speaking back in 2010 was really eye-opening and really made me interested in helping people be access things equally. So accessibility is a very big passion of mine, and I'm excited to be part of this group. So I'm going to be talking about communications updates for Alley Talks, mainly website updates that we've made and the marketing updates since 2023. So since 2023, the website switched from using Gatsby and we switched it to Drupal. And we also created an open source GitHub repository that has links to our bios, links to more information about Alley Talks. So you can actually get to a lot of information about our group through GitHub itself. And that's located at github.com/AlleyTalks. We've also improved the website with adding a couple different things since we switched to Drupal back in 2024. The big one we've done is adding a calendar. It's using the calendar view module in Drupal if you're curious about what we use. And as Kat had mentioned, we are creating a speaker form using Drupal to replace the Google form that we have now. I think that is almost good to go, but we just want to make some tweaks and make sure that it has a consistent user experience for people who are wanting to speak with Alley Talks. And as for marketing, this is how our marketing works right now. Currently, we post our social media marketing on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Mastodon, and of course, YouTube, where our videos are hosted. We used to be on Twitter, now known as X, but we got off of X last year for, you can probably guess some reasons why. So we're able to keep up with all the social media that we have, and we primarily post on LinkedIn, but we also do use Blue Sky and Mastodon for our updates. To schedule our posts, we use Buffer, and we send out reminders on all of our social media, maybe a week before, a day before, an hour before, and the day and right when it starts, so that people can stay informed. So if you want to stay informed of our events, you can follow us on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, Mastodon, or YouTube, and you'd be able to get when we have our next recording. We also end up posting updates on when we're doing this on Slack as well. We will post in the Alley Slack, the accessibility Slack. We will post in the Drupal Slack, MidCamp Slack, and also some people will post in their work accessibility channels about new Alley Talks videos that come out. A Drupal specific, we post on a couple different pages, such as the Accessibility Drupal group, the Drupal community events page, and our own Drupal project page that we have on Drupal.org. We also worked with the IAP to ensure attendees and speakers get education credits that count toward their IAP certifications. And also, I want to shout out April and Amy June for their work in marketing, and Marky for continuing work on the website. And that is all I have for the communications updates. So I'm going to pass it over to April.
Thanks, Aubrey. Hi, everybody. My name is April Sides, and I am a principal software engineer at Red Hat. I am a white woman with some sort of like brown faux hawk situation happening, with some glasses. And today I'm wearing my Red Hat Global Accessibility Awareness Day shirt. Thought it was appropriate. I don't know. So I'm going to talk a little bit about financials. Since our last update in 2023, we are now fiscally sponsored by the nonprofit Midwest Open Source Alliance, or MOSA. And looking a little bit at our income, this is what our donations look like and sponsorships look like in 2025 across the year. You can see we've got some spikes, and I can kind of explain a little bit what those spikes are. But you can see like a fairly a common line of like how much money we get each month. If we look at the next slide, I've split this out into our Open Collective donations, which is just a platform where we have been accepting donations. We've also accepted donations through the Benevity platform, and we get a little bit of money from the Alley Talk store, where you can buy the Alley Cat shirts, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. First off, big thanks to everyone who has given to Alley Talks and helped us to grow this project and support it and make it, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to join the team that I did, was to make it not just Carrie doing everything financially, really spreading the love and showing that this is something bigger than just one person, and that we could, make it more financially stable and sustainable as a community. So we can go on to the next one. We've got the expenses. So this year we actually paid out, this was our first year paying our speakers an honorarium. So we paid 7 of our 11 speakers. We had 4 speakers that decided to donate their honorarium back to Alley Talks. We appreciate that. We also included in a November talk, we had 1 ASL interpretation included in one of our talks. The live captioning that's showing up there is actually a carryover from our last live talk in December 2024. In the production software, we started subscribing to new software in November, so I expect that expense to grow in the coming year. If we look at our budget priorities, these are our current priorities. We want to continue to support our speakers. We find that to be a very important thing within our group. We want to invest in better production and recording software, which we started in November, so we want to continue that. We'd like to do at least 1 to 3 talks with ASL interpretation throughout the year. And of course, we need to cover operation expenses like payment fees and website domains and stickers and things like that to get the word out. We are an all-volunteer team, so all the donations after fees go directly toward these expenses to making the talks great. So if you look at the next slide, these are our platforms that we are currently accepting donations. So we accept one-time or recurring donations from the community, and as well as organization sponsorships. One caveat is that recurring donations really help us project monthly contributions and make it easier to make these spending decisions on whether we want to do something. For as little as $5 a month, you can support Alley Talks and receive a thank you card and a sticker. Just remember to share your address with us when you donate, or fill out the form linked in your confirmation email. If you ever have any trouble after you donate and you can't figure out how to submit the form or provide your address, you can always email us at team@accessibilitytalks.com. So we are leaving the Open Collective platform and moving to GitHub sponsors, Zephy and Benevity. GitHub sponsors is probably the most similar to Open Collective. It has like support badges, and it's integrated into the GitHub platform. Fee is a fundraising platform that allows organizations to keep 100% of their donations. So there's no payment processing fees. I guess that they pay those themselves and make sure that organizations get to keep 100% of their donations. And then Benevity is a platform that some employers use to match their employee donations. And there's also ways that, our team has used it. And this is kind of what describes the spike, is that our team can also track our time as volunteers for this project and record that time. And our employers will give a certain amount of money per hour. And then you can actually donate that money back to Alley Talks. You can donate to other nonprofits and things like that, which is kind of a neat way to continue to give to our community and to our greater community as well. So if you are donating through Open Collective right now, we would really like you to renew your donation by the end of this year. Please, please, please don't wait till the end of the year. So do that as soon as possible. And we really hope that you will renew your support. And if you do, fill out the form for receiving a new sticker and card and things like that. So we definitely want to reward your renewed support for us. But yeah, if you want to donate, you can go to alleytalks.com/donate for more information. And then lastly, we do have an existing Redbubble store. There's Accessibility Alley Cats that contributes to Alley Talks. That was that little teeny tiny sliver of a support. You can find the store link on our website currently, but we are also working on shiny new stickers and shirts. So if you can see this slide here, we've got the Alley Cat from our Alley Cats Club stickers, I think from before, but we're looking at making some shiny ones. And we also want to repurpose the design. This is a draft design by our very own Tobias Williams, so thank you to him for providing that. And when we do have the final sticker, we do want to also make t-shirts and have a store for you to be able to purchase those t-shirts that is hopefully a better option than Redbubble. Let's see. Our goal is to print the stickers in February and to set up a new fundraising store in the coming months with the shirts, possibly other items featuring the new sticker design. So yeah, that is coming up and we're really excited about that. And I think that's all I have to share for fundraising stuff. I guess I'll pass it back to Carrie for our fireside chat.
Awesome, everyone. This is amazing. Thank you for the updates from your different organization pillars, whatever you want to call it. I especially love the context of like how you got involved with Alley Talks, because it's sometimes you forget how you start one thing and it trickles into something else, and hearing it, going from like Amy June to April to Kat to Aubrey, and somehow we got Andrew and Marky and Tobias and others along the ride as well as our past volunteers that we've had help shape it. It's kind of it's pretty amazing when we kind of look at it and think about it in that way. And that's kind of how accessibility is and how I think of accessibility is in our space as well too, because you know we all plant seeds. Sometimes we don't know if those seeds will grow, but somebody else comes along and waters it and it gets a little bit of sun from someone else, and eventually we bloom into whatever it is that we need to be to make our space more inclusive and our area of the world more inclusive. So I just, yeah, that's the kind of stuff that makes me get up in the morning and do the things that I do, even when it's difficult. I'm going to go ahead and switch over my share to our fireside chat. This is called the Fireside Chat Question Generator. I just created it this morning, and while people were doing their parts of the presentation, I was modifying it a little bit using Spark, which is a thing that on GitHub that you can use to generate projects or ideas and prototype things. So I had this idea, what kind of things would I want to explore if I knew nothing about them or knew nothing about the context or whatever topic that we're talking about. So I kind of thought about this idea of like an oracle. What we are going to do is we're going to consult our oracle of inclusion. Ask and the wisdom shall be revealed. So in the consult section, we have some topics to explore, and we have some suggested ideas like accessible design or screen readers or universal design, WCAG standards, etc. We can ask the guests what kind of focus area that they're in. So maybe like Aubrey does front end development. So maybe that's the focus that she wants to take, or maybe because of her family members and the way that she grew up. Maybe she wants to talk about lived experience or whatever it is that she wanted to choose. And so once we press reveal my questions, we're going to get a grouping of questions that we're going to go from anything from like silly to serious with the ability to shuffle as needed. What? Let's try it. I don't know. All right. So who wants to be the first guinea pig? Who's the first volunteer? April's doing the not it knows thing. I'm going to say Andrew because I know he's got to leave soon. Is that okay, Andrew?
Yeah, that's great. I was actually going to add to this is why I joined is we try new things and we learn from them and we go into it. Is this accessible? Is it not? And we adjust from there. But I love the innovation of this. So I'm in. Let's do
All
it.
right. Love it. All right. So topics to explore. So we could write in any topic we want, but of the ones listed here, we have accessible design, neurodiversity, inclusive hiring, disability advocacy, assistive technology, screen readers, WCAG standards, and universal design. Do any of those appeal?
Any of them, give it a go. I'm up for any of them.
Well, let's go
Dealer's
with
choice.
assistive tech.
Sure.
We could pick multiple. Oh, mental health just popped up. Let's do both. All right. We'll see what happens. What is your focus typically in this space, accessibility space?
Engineering and
Engineering. Okay. I'm going to read it real quick. Engineering and dev, design and UX, accessibility, which is maybe like a SME or a catch-all, leadership, education and advocacy and community. And Andrew said dev. How many years do you think? Are you beginner 0 to 2, growing 3 to 5, experienced 6 to 10, expert 11 to 15, or veteran 15 plus?
I would say I'm always growing. So I would always defer to growing because of how
All
the
right.
space changes as well.
Do you have any extra notes to add, like any specific topics you would like us to cover or avoid in this?
No, I'll be an open book and I'm very curious what it comes back with. I'm sure the rest will have things but not to ask.
There's a little sound that happened, by the way.
Oh, okay.
The oracle has spoken. Okay, so our first question here is whimsical. What is the coolest or weirdest assistive technology tool you've ever seen or worked on? Do you like that one or do you want to go for another one?
That immediately brought a memory back to me where when I was a
Go for it.
child, there was a gentleman that had lost the ability to talk and he had one of those things that you put on your vocal cords in order to talk. And I remember as a child being fascinated hearing him talk. And so that's just a memory that came back to me. As soon as you were like, what's the coolest, weirdest assistive tech is, I just remember that moment of my father talking to this gentleman and just being fascinated. And he could tell I was fascinated and he held it against my hand so I could, feel what that's like. And I was just really curious for it. So maybe that's where this started. I've never really shared that memory before either. So it's interesting.
That's so cool. The oracle predicts all and knows all. Maybe it knew that you needed to tell that story, but that's amazing. I love that you were young, that you had that interaction with a person, and also that assistive technology isn't just a screen reader, right? There's all kinds of levels of assistive technology, and that is one of many, right? That's kind of cool. Okay, here's another kind of whimsical one. I think it goes from funny to serious, so maybe we need less questions, but if you could invent any piece of tech to help someone, what would it do?
I'm really excited. And anybody that knows me, I always talk about context of situations. So context to me is everything. And when I build a web page, I always struggle with who is coming to it and what kind of context do they have. And everybody has a different idea of what is a summary or a different idea of a task that they want to go and do. And I feel a lot of the conversations I have about improving a web page, like phone number on the page or in the form, if it's a multi-step form, how much did the person know before they came into it? So maybe that is something that's interesting about AI to help somebody understand when they come to a page. Are they new to the page, brand new? Have they been on the site before? Are they really just coming there to order their favorite pizza and leave? Whatever that context is. So I feel like there's got to be a way to have a page that meets a lot of different people in a lot of different tasks, but a
Mhm.
fascinating way to provide some context to help people along the way.
Awesome. That's amazing. So yeah, fix everything pretty much. If you could do anything. I love it. Let's see. I'm going to see if I find one more here for you, and then you can call on the next person's. Be ready to go, whoever that next person is. Do you want something more serious or something more
Go silly.
fun again? All right. Let's see what we got. Here's a warm one. What first inspired you to focus on accessibility and inclusion in your work? I feel like you kind of answered that one, but do you want to take that one or shuffle to a new one? What do you think?
We can. I'll talk about what inspired me first. So I had been on the fringes of this, and I am fully admitting here I was that developer of why do we need this? I'm just trying to meet the requirements. What are we doing? And so I was that person. I wore that hat, not proudly, right? And so when I first got into this was there was an in-person event that needed an accessibility lead. And a friend of mine, we there was nobody really stepping up to it. So a friend of mine, her name's Kumana Bots, said, I'll do it if we can do it together. And we learned together and we shared together. And it was a great moment of understanding all the in-person things, how it touches digital. And that's been the journey I've been on. And that's what I said in 2018, 2019 is when we first stepped into that. It really opened up my world, what I bring to just every day and what I bring to my coding. So it really changed my world. And I've been passionate about it ever since to get people to get where I was, from where I was to where I am today,
Mm,
folks.
yeah. And that's a great reminder too, like who you were and what the mistakes you made in the past. While they may be cringy or, you might look on it and say, I wish I wouldn't have done that. I mean, that's part of that growth process, and you wouldn't be who you are today and where you are today if you hadn't have gone through those experiences. So I think it's good to give your past self grace as well, and know that there are people that are just like you, your past you, who will become somebody else if they would like to in the future, if they think about it. All right, that's a lot of words. Maybe we'll cut some of that out, but rambling there. But yeah, thank you for sharing. That's really great.
Thanks. This
Uh,
was fun.
all right, let's. Why don't I know you got to drop soon, so why don't you? Reset this and see if anyone else. You call someone else. See what we
I'm
get.
gonna look at who looks the most scared right in this moment. And it looks like Kat, even though she smiled at the last minute. But I got a bigger smile out of her by choosing her. So I'll take that as a win.
I'm up for
Awesome.
it.
Kat, are you up for it? Okay, awesome. All right, all right. So, what topics would you like the Oracle to explore today?
Mm, we could try the WCAG standards. I'm not as scared of that.
Okay.
And assistive technology.
All right, all right. And
Mm,
we can make anything too. These are all just kind of like ideas, but you can write in
yeah,
anything you wanted, like aria, or I know you're an expert there, or something like
yeah.
that.
We
Or
could do Aria.
let's see,
See if it comes up.
just throwing it out there.
Okay, that
All
works.
right. What focus area would you consider yourself? I mean, I feel like we can be multiple of these, but what kind of
Yeah,
questions would you like to answer?
let's just do engineering for now, since that's what I'm focused on right at this moment.
Makes sense.
I'm a
And
veteran. I've been doing it for a
you don't have
long
to reveal your
time.
age. It's all right.
I
Do you have
know.
any extra?
Yeah.
I know. Accessibility keeps us young at heart. Maybe not
Yeah.
so much on the outside.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
what are
I'm
some
25.
specific, are there any extra notes or topics you want to cover or avoid today?
No, I'm open. I'm good.
I forget also, I do have a quick answer oracle if you have a yes, no, maybe question later. So kind of keep that in the back of your head. Um,
Okay.
all right. Now it's going to reveal your questions. Let's see what we got. Oracle spoken, whimsical. I must be going again, whimsical to serious. So we'll start with
Hmm.
whimsical. If WCAG were a superhero, what would their superpower be and why? Do you like that one?
Huh.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
What would its superhero be?
I'd say, no, I know what CAD could be complicated for a lot of people, but I think that the good thing about WCAG, and when I say WCAG, I mean Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, so I want to make sure I say that. I think it's good because it does open the eyes of people that don't know about it, about the different disabilities that are out there and how to solve problems for different groups. And that it's changed over the years to include more disabilities. So the what is it, 2.2 included mobile and included more cognitive disabilities. And the upcoming one, 3.0, is trying to think more about people, because 2.2 and before that were a lot more like you have to do this, and 3.0 is trying to be more flexible. So I appreciate the standards for trying to be flexible and trying to always grow. So I think
Hmm.
that's what makes it kind of a superhero, is that it's really, if you really look at the standards across the world, they all go for the WCAG standards. And that's pretty amazing if you really think about it, right?
It is amazing, and it just made me think of if you've ever seen The Incredibles, like Elastigirl. I almost feel like WCAG could be Elastigirl in a sense, right? Because it's
Yeah.
stretching and it's being what we need it to be in the moment and growing. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
All right, let's
definitely.
see what we get for another question here. Here's one. If you like this one, it's warm. It says, "What was the first time you saw tech make someone's life easier in a surprising way?"
Actually, I was talking about it earlier, but I'll just talk a little bit more deeply about it. Was when I was the KC Metro Area Webmasters Group, which ended up turning into NAGWA, which is the National Association of Web Professionals. We had a presentation from a user from GSA who was blind, and he brought in or not brought in, he showed us a screen reader. And I had never heard a screen reader before. And so that's what really blew my mind, because
Mm,
he showed us the website with the screen reader and basically images without alt text and tables and things like that, and how difficult it was for him to navigate the web with an inaccessible page, and then showed us an accessible version of it with the screen reader. And it was just amazing. I was just like, wow. And I've seen that when I've done presentations with a screen reader
mhm.
with people that have never heard it before as well. That's why I think it's always important when you do a presentation to do it, to
Yeah,
do a demo with a screen reader, because there's a lot of people that have never heard it before. So
th-
definitely
that's really
that I know
fascinating.
it's,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I know, when people think of accessibility, they automatically go to screen readers and people who are blind. But I think that that is always like a way to open the door for people into accessibility so that they can discover other assistive technology besides just screen readers. So, yeah.
1,000%. And I think that's really great way to do it for sure. And like, especially people who are in tech, we like things that are technical and, different programs and different things like that. So I can see that having a real impact. It's like, yeah, like I can hear the words, or what does that sound like? Right. Yeah, these are great questions. And it's good. I think it opens that question back to like what Andrew was saying about like the first assistive tech that he knew that he didn't even know was necessarily assistive tech at the time was something manual, but this is something like a program or automated. But yeah, it's all kinds of assistive tech out there. Were you
Yeah. And
down for one more question?
yeah, I
Yeah, go
am.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'll
cool.
just say that he actually had us close our eyes too, to kind of imagine
The
what it was like
speaker
to
that you're,
actually, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I was just like, yeah, that would be very interesting to have to experience that. So it was very eye opening and very just amazing to listen to. So I've never turned back since I saw that presentation.
yeah. It's that's pretty. It sounds like it was life changing for you as well
Hmm.
as
Oh yeah.
I love that. So one more question for you, and then you get to choose either Aubrey or April. I guess I could do
Mm.
it to myself too, but we don't really. I don't know. We had time for all that anyway. But This is a thoughtful question. How do developers sometimes miss the mark when designing for accessibility? What do you think?
This is an easy one. Constantly when I'm talking to people that I'll say I'll work with or maybe do other work with, they're always talking about the WCAG standards. Like, well, if this does meets this WCAG standard, then it's fine. And they're always thinking about conformance and they're not thinking about usability and accessibility. As I was saying before, WCAG is great, but it does not cover every single thing when it comes to or when it comes to a disability, especially with cognitive disabilities. So it's important for people to understand that there are the WCAG standards, but there's also accessibility best practices. There's just things that you need to focus on when it comes to like readability, and there's so many things. So when somebody's like that maybe is an accessibility subject matter expert is trying to give advice on something that is an accessibility best practice, and you kind of come back with, well, that's not in the WCAG standard, so we really don't need to do it. That really is one of the most frustrating things I think I experience when I'm working with people, because
Mm,
it's not conformance does not always equal accessibility. It's part of it. It's just not the same thing. So that's a huge thing that developers miss a lot of the time when it comes to accessibility.
yeah. Kind of a follow up question on that is, what do you think could help resolve those kinds of issues that developers are having just thinking only about compliance?
I think that it would be great if W3C, right? I think it's W3. If they put something official out that explained that to people, so that
Mm,
when people are asking those questions, you could point to something official from them saying, hey, just so you know, these are the standards. We do the best we can, but these are not going to cover all accessibility issues. And maybe they have something out there that says that. I have not found it,
mm.
but I think having something like that that you could point to that's official would be really helpful.
That makes sense. Yeah. And maybe if somebody who's listening does already have that resource available, and let us know, and we can definitely add that to the comments section as a link. All right. So who is
Okay.
our next guinea pig? The cat. Who are you
Oh,
going on?
man. I'm just going to point and then it's April.
All right. The Oracle of Inclusion is asking April. Let's see. I don't know if I have how to reset this, so we'll just see if we can get it to work like this without me refreshing the page. But what kind of topics do you want to explore?
I mean, I guess neurodiversity and mental health.
And you can put in anything you want to. Well, don't have to limit
Oh,
yourself.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you
See,
could put in like CMS. Yeah.
I'm the unicorn of the group. I'm a backend developer, so it's a little.
Oh, well, let's do back end development. Back end dev. Let's see what we get. Here's a good one. Whimsical. What is your favorite metaphor for explaining how coding is like navigating neurodivergence or mental health challenges? Do you want to take this, or should we consult the Oracle more?
Coding is like neurodivergence and mental health challenge.
This
I feel
seems like
like
a
we should
college
skip
exam
this.
question.
Well, I would say they can both be super frustrating, but then when you resolve it, it's like, yes, I conquered it. Or like, yes, I solved the problem. You're like, why do I do tech? What is wrong with this thing? Why won't it work? And then you're like, oh, it was just this one line of thing, and now everything's working. I don't know. That'd probably be.
I have to say though, you've probably heard me say this before too, April, is like I'm a front end developer by trade. And like when I have to work on back end code, it'll take me hours and it's like one line and it's like one slash that's missing or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, why is this so difficult? So I really feel your answer is spot on for a lot of us, right?
It's that thing. Is like you're a problem solver as a developer, and so you're like, what is it? The question is like, why won't this work? And then later it's like,
Mhm.
why is this working? Like you have to solve all
Yeah.
those sorts of questions. and you can feel like super dumb in the process, and then you figure it out and you just like, I don't know, dopamine hit or something, and you're ready for the next problem to take. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know sometimes why we do what we do, but yes. But I mean, it is like, but in the sense of like neurodivergence or mental health challenges or any kind of challenge, really, it's like you're problem solving and you're working with what you have, and it's not a good or a bad thing. There is no judgment. It is just what it is, right? And so, like, how do you work within the constructs of those, that environment, right? Essentially, that's both for code and for all the challenges that we have in our lives, right? Beyond just the mental and the neurodivergent, I imagine. But all right, let's see what the Oracle has up next in its sleeve. Let's switch it to a warm one. What's been a moment where inclusion made you work better or more meaningful
Well, I mean, if you can see me, I am not your average bear. So I would say, like, when I discovered the Drupal community, I discovered Drupal, that's what I primarily work with. Discovered the software, and then I discovered the community, and seeing someone like me as like, what I call number two in Drupal, just made me feel like this was a space that was safe and inclusive. And so I think it gave me more confidence to, yes, like, do more things in that space, to contribute in different ways, like organizing events and helping with the the community working groups, community health team, just like getting more involved with that and trying to, maybe be that person that someone else like me sees and thinks that then they can contribute in similar ways or in different ways. I think, like, what is it, being the change you wish to see in the world, or like, representing people like you so that they can feel more comfortable and inclusive in the space. So I don't know. Maybe I think that's my answer.
That's perfect. Nothing, no notes, nothing to add on that. Just plus 1,000 to that comment. I think you've done two now. Do you want to do one more? Do you feel up for it?
Am I feeling lucky? Sure. Let's
I don't
do it.
know. What's the Oracle going to give you? I can't tell. How can backend development make websites or CMSs more accessible for people with disabilities? That's a great question, Oracle. How can they, April?
I'm not an expert in everything. Let's see. I mean, I think it's important for backend developers, and kind of in my case, where in a lot of cases the backend developer is the lead on projects. And so for a backend developer to be cognizant and aware and of the importance of making accessible websites and things like that, I think is important to have at that, that backend lead level. Otherwise, I mean, I think, I've still found like patches and things for Drupal that were accessible related that apply to a module. So that would be more of a backend thing that would happen. Building systems that are accessible, um, from the system level, I think is important. And that's kind of where backend comes into play, and just like maybe like structured data. Like, I don't know, I really like the backend because I like dealing with data and providing data to a front end interface to then display it in better ways. So being cognizant of how data should be structured and provided to the front end to allow the front end to make that data accessible, I think is probably an important thing. Did I win?
Yes, I think
What
so.
did I
I
win?
mean, I all I can say is that it takes a lot of different types of personalities and talents to make our world more inclusive. And what you're just talking about is like fundamental to that framework and that foundation. And I'm so glad that somebody like you can do that because I don't know that that is my strong suit. But that whole architecture and building off of it, I love that kind of concept. So yeah, I think you win. I think we all win so far. Last but not least, we have Aubrey and Aubrey's game. We have some questions for her as well, but like we'll see. We're what are we, 3 out of 3 so far on winning, whatever that means here in our robot experiment. But yeah, thank you, April. And Aubrey, what do you think? You want to try it?
Yeah, sure. Let's see. How about I put in front end development for one of my topics to
All
explore?
right.
Just did back end development. I'll do front end development.
Okay, let's do that.
And maybe, let's see, anything else on here? Front end dev and
Are you up for maybe some design questions? Because I just know we haven't had any of those. I know you do some,
I
and
haven't
there's
done
some design.
design in about 16 years, but
Okay,
I
never
can
mind. No, no. Let's just throw it out there just to see. Are there any other topics that you think you could cover that you would like to cover?
maybe put mental health in there too. You throw
All
that in
right.
there. And then yeah.
Do we want to focus on engineering and dev?
Yep. Yep,
All
all the
right.
developers on the call, and then you could put me as a veteran. I've been doing this for 20 years. This 20 years next month.
Oh,
So 20 years as
how
professionally,
is
like
that even? I was gonna.
27.
I can't even
Yep, started doing it
imagine.
in high school. All the things. All right.
Do you have any extra notes or topics to cover or avoid here?
Nope, I can't think of any.
All right, let's do the oracle. Let's see, summon our cosmic keyboard shortcut. All right, this is a great whimsical question. And again, you can't say all the things. That would be a cop out to
Yeah.
me. But if you could give the internet a universal accessibility makeover, where would you start?
Man, I'm trying to think of where I would start with this one. Giving the internet. Um, I guess just making sure that everything is accessible to everybody by default. If I could just wave a magic wand and make that happen, that would be great. Maybe get rid of accessibility overlays, because those do not make the internet accessible. So some of those kind of things I think is where I would start. Like making sure that people of all using different assistive technologies can access the internet the same ways so that everybody can use the internet, yeah, in similar ways. I think that's where I would start.
I love that. And again, plus 1,000 to the no overlays. We actually had I think that was Shell Little way back in the day talking about overlays a couple of years back on Alley Talks. So still a thing.
Yep,
It's still
sure
not a
is.
good thing. So let's fix that. That'd be great. That'd be a great place to start for sure.
And make it over by getting rid of those. Yeah, that's good start.
It is a good start. But this is a whimsical, enough. You got all the whimsical ones. And again, you can pass if you don't like the
Yeah,
questions, but what's one everyday tech fail that makes you secretly roll your eyes or laugh every time?
everyday tech fail. Hmm. What is a good fail that I see every day in tech that makes me roll my eyes?
Or
I don't
laugh?
know. There's so many. There's so many to choose from, but it's hard to narrow it down. What is one that makes me what's that one that makes me laugh and not roll my eyes? Maybe when
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
see the
say,
same trends all over the place. Like I'm thinking my first thought was like everyday tech like trend, not really tech fail that would make me roll my eyes, but this is like old school, like all the web 2.0 like shiny like glass. I guess it's coming back with liquid glass at on iOS now, but the web 2.0 like reflection, rounded corners, like shiny like
you can't see all
buttons
our
and stuff.
faces right now, but we're all shaking our head no and thumbs down from April. Like we've all been around too long to know. We've seen the trend cycle. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, it's coming back. Yeah, liquid glass. Like not I'm not a huge fan of liquid glass. I could see what they were trying to do with it, but I guess that's a tech fail. Actually, that's a good example of a tech fail that's making me roll my eyes is liquid glass because it's not like when it first came out, it wasn't super like the glass on glass, like not being able to read the text on it. The accessibility, it was a big accessibility fail, liquid glass. So I guess that's a good tech fail to bring up. Liquid
That
glass
is.
and accessibility. Yeah.
I agree to that. And I would say, I don't know which is worse though, is like the gray on gray on gray on gray design patterns that we had a few years back that
True.
are still kind of around. Liquid glass, like, is there not a happy medium? I feel like there's
And there
something in
has to be.
between.
Has to be something that's better because neither of them were good. And like it's hard. Like I know when I first got liquid glass, I had a background on my phone that had some kind of print, like it was like a busy pattern in the back. Putting liquid glass on top of that, like, where I see the time, I couldn't read the time at all because of just how busy my background was. So I'm like, why can't I just make this text like black or white or do something where I can make the contrast a little bit better on my phone so I can read the time? huge fail. They started to roll some updates out, but I don't think it's enough so far. Like, it's just not a great user experience, not a great accessibility experience at all. So it's too bad.
Yeah. Yes. I feel like I should just say plus thousands to everybody. Everyone wins. Everyone's already won. But yes, no, I would agree with that too. Let's make the web better.
Yeah,
All
let's make it
right.
better.
Let's one more question. And again, feel free if you want a different one, but this one says a warm question. Can you share a moment when you felt proud to be making something more inclusive?
Trying to think if I know making something more inclusive or making something just improving its accessibility. I know this past summer I worked on a website that was for like preventing elder abuse up in Maine, and it was a website that kind of talk about that experience, and they needed some accessibility help. So I went in and helped update contrast and like make their navigation better and more accessible, making sure that people can use, a screen reader or people can use a keyboard to navigate the site and things like that. That isn't really making it more inclusive, but it is making it more usable for and accessible for more people going to it. I guess that would still consider it being more inclusive, but it was a project that I really really wanted to work on, and I was happy to help with that, and I was proud of doing the work I did on that. So yeah, that is one moment that just happened like maybe 6 or 7 months ago. So yeah,
That's amazing. Thank you for doing that. And it's definitely inspiring to everyone and their journey, I believe as well. It's like starting small, ending big, here too as well. So like everything in between. So I've already said I love all the team, but I love you all. And the people who came before and the people who couldn't make it today. I appreciate you all for sharing those insights and your backstories and these personal, you know, part of your personal journeys with the team and with, I guess, everybody else who's watching out there as well. So that's that's pretty awesome. A huge thank you today to the team and everyone else in the past and then the future who shares their time, expertise, and lived experience with our community. Your insights help us learn, grow, and build a more inclusive world, one conversation at a time. Do you have a question for the team or speakers in the past? Here's how you ask. If you're watching the live premiere on YouTube, you can ask your questions directly in the chat. But if you're not watching live, you can leave a comment on the YouTube video or continue the conversation on LinkedIn or any of the social media channels afterwards. And speaking of speakers, we're always looking for new voices, especially from marginalized groups in tech. We heard a lot about that today, especially from Kat. So let's reach out to Kat and team. You can go to our speakers page or you can reach us on LinkedIn or email us at team@alleytalks.com to start that conversation. And lastly, let's keep that conversation going. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you never miss a talk and follow us on LinkedIn, Blue Sky, and Mastodon to stay in the loop. You can find all of these links and so much more on our website. Again, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you being here and we'll see you next time.